Hello everybody, Ian Robson here and welcome to another tutorial. In today's tutorial I'm going to show you how to use the conveyor belt system. So in the base game you start off with this conveyor belt, this one, and this guy. Okay, so let's start off with a small one over here. So this is the kind of the basic conveyor belt. This is the one you would use to pick up stuff off the ground. Okay, you can actually get in the conveyor belt and fold it if you wish, so it's actually on the ground like that. So when you tip it up, it kind of pops up off the ground a little bit. You can actually move these around by using WASD on your keyboard. You can do that, you can do turns, and this is basically just, they do this because you need to adjust them sometimes. Okay, so that's the basic one. This one is used to pick up stuff off the ground primarily. Alright, so what you do with this first one is, if I come over here, what you can do with this first one is you can connect it to the other conveyor belts. So I'm going to start off with this one on the far left over here. So I'm going to bring this over here and see how I have the little top part there, the little hitch. You can actually come over here, and if I hop into, let's get this guy out of the way here. There we go. If I hop into this conveyor belt right here, I can actually attach it to the other one we were just moving. Okay, so the reason why that's helpful is you can have this set up so it picks stuff off the ground and puts it directly onto this conveyor belt right here. Okay, so let's see how we use this conveyor belt right here. This is going to be your primary conveyor belt by all means. This is the one that it's easiest to use and it makes the most sense in almost all cases. Okay, so let me show you how this one works. So first things first, if you hold down the left mouse button and you move your mouse up and down, you can raise and lower the conveyor belt like so. So in this case I want to raise it up like so. So that's what you do. You can also extend it out by holding your right mouse button and moving your mouse left and right. So there you go, there's moving my mouse to the right like so. So you can extend it out as far as you would like. If you want to keep this a bit more stable, because once you get out to the highest range basically, and you extend it out, it gets a bit tippy. So what you can do is you can fold the tires in, and that seems to make it a bit less tippy. Okay. The other thing you can do is you can change the angle. I haven't found what that does yet. I haven't noticed. If you know, let me know in the comments below. But it doesn't seem to affect anything at all as far as I know. So you can unfold the belt, which is what I just did with X, and you can move it around. So that is the basic belt. So that you can rotate it like this, but that's all you can do now. So what you want to do is, if you want to pick up grain off the ground, you would connect these two together like this. And then this one would pick it up the ground and put it onto this conveyor belt, and that would take it to wherever you want it to go. Okay. All right, so here is the other conveyor belt right here. Now this one is basically like, it seems to be a conveyor belt you would use between two conveyor belts. Okay, so in order to do something with this, you can do the same thing. Hold your left mouse button and you can raise and lower that one end. If I hold my left mouse button and move left and right, I can actually move this arm around like so. So I can move that arm around. And if I hold my right mouse button, I can actually slide that up and down as well. So I can slide this conveyor belt around, and then I can move it left and right. So if I hold my right mouse button, I can also move it up and down like that. And I can move the other side up and down. So left mouse button will do this. If you go up and down, if you move it left and right, it'll move, it'll rotate it. Right mouse button holding down, up and down will raise and lower that other section, and then slide it up and down the conveyor belt. So you can do the same thing with this one right here. You can connect it right here to the short little conveyor belt over here. So you can have this one pick up off the ground, and then you can attach it to this side, and then have this transport it somewhere else if you like. So you can do that as well. You could technically, you could connect this to one of the other sides as well. So you could connect this over to this one if you wanted. Okay, so that's how that one would work. That's how it functions, at least. This one right here is a potato conveyor belt. So basically what this one is used for is you dump the potatoes in here and you create pallets out of it. So you dump potatoes in and you'll pop out a pallet right in the side here. So that's how that one works. You can't get in this one. You have to actually connect a vehicle to it. The one thing you do have to do with this when you have a vehicle attached to it is just lower it to the ground. So you lower it to the ground, then you can detach it, and then it's as low as it's going to go. You can set it up for enable pallet creation. So if you enable pallet creation by pressing I, it'll actually create a pallet and it'll put it right beside here. Okay, so that's that. So let me show you how all these work in action. There's no functions in this one. You can't get in it. Once you have it attached, the only functions you have is lower and enable pallet creation. And I'll show you that in a moment. So that's how the conveyor belt system works in general. Now let me show you how it could work in another scenario. All right, so here I have my conveyor belt system set up. It looks ridiculous because I have this little middle piece here. So this is how you could have it set up. So I could have this one in the pile of grain, like so, and then it connects to this guy, which, is it still connected? Let's find out here. It doesn't look like, no, it is. Doesn't look connected, but apparently it is. Okay, so this is connected to this, and as you can see, the grain is going up here, going along here, into this big tall one, and then what you can do is you can dispose of it right here, if you'd like. So one thing I did notice is when you're in these other conveyor belts, if you want to dump it somewhere, you need to make sure it is in unload here. So I'm going to go left control and I, and it'll say stop unloading. Now, the one thing I've noticed is it doesn't create its own pile, which is a bit interesting. Theoretically, it should be able to do that, but it doesn't seem to want to do that, so which is okay. Because you don't really need to, I guess, in this context, because you can just drive up and unload into it. So let me show you how this works. Let me grab this, and if I drive underneath this now, it will automatically load into the truck. So you can do it that way if you'd like. So because I have a big pile of grain there, it's going to slowly decrease as my conveyor belt moves around. So this is probably not in the right spot anymore, which I'm not surprised by. But that's how you can have it set up. So this is actually not on the ground apparently, but let's see if I can find out which one it is. There it is. So now if I want to move this around and adjust this, I can do that here. Not very successfully, mind you, but you can easily adjust it around and then attach it back up and set it up properly. So that's how you can set it up. You can have it go all the way through the system like that and go into a truck. From what I can tell, it doesn't seem to be able to just deposit straight in the ground. I haven't been able to get it to do that yet, but maybe it's because of the system I have set up. But theoretically, you should be able to just deposit it straight onto the ground from the conveyor belt system. Okay, so let me just dump this here. So the next thing I want to show you is the potato conveyor belt. Here's the potato one, and as you can see, I've already put potatoes in it, and this is what happens when you have it set to enable pallet creation. It just creates a box of apples, a box of potatoes like that, and you can move it with the lifter implement, and you can put more potatoes in there if you wish. All right, so I have my truck set up with potatoes in close to the conveyor belt, and if you notice, I am really close to this conveyor belt, and there's actually a tip function, so you can actually just tip straight into there, and there actually is it's not a tip anywhere function, it's actually just a regular tip. So this is set up to create a pallet, so let me just show that to you right now. So I'm going to tip a little bit in there. All right, so you have to attach a tractor to enable this. So I have some potatoes in here, so I'm going to go ahead and enable it right now. And now it's enabled. I'm going to detach, and as you can see, the conveyor belt is started, and it's loading that potato bin. Pretty cool, eh? So that's how that would work if you want to have it set up to enable one of your enable to create pallets, which is kind of cool actually. All right, so that's that. One thing to note is that once the actual box is full, it will automatically stop, and you need to move the box out of the way before you can continue. So that's one thing to note. So there's, as you can see, there's still potatoes in here, but it has stopped now because it is actually full. Kind of neat. One thing to note about this other conveyor belt system is you can actually just have it set up so it picks up and goes directly onto the conveyor belt like this without it being attached as well. That's a possibility, and you could do that with this one. As you can see, I just did that here with this, and if I can move this around, I can show you that again. Just going back to the other one. So there it goes, and you can just drop it straight into the conveyor belt like that. That's a possibility. Anyways, back to the potato ones. Also, coincidentally, you can pick up straw. Here's some of the straw. And if I say unload here, I'll be able to pick up some of the straw and just deposit it right there. So keep that in mind as well. So here's what you can do with this system as well. You can set it up so it picks up the potatoes off the conveyor belt. So you deposit it. You take the trailer, you deposit it into this, and this has a capacity. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it actually says. Let's see. Where is it here? Does it say it has a capacity? Yeah, 16,000 liters. So it does have a capacity. So you can put 16,000 liters in there. You can put it into boxes. You can put it on the conveyor belt system. So in this case, if I set the conveyor belt system to unload here, we should be able to start a pile of potatoes. So that's kind of one of the things you could do with that as well. If you wanted to make a big pile of potatoes, that's a possibility. So keep that in mind. There are some things you can do with this conveyor belt system. I'm not sure what else you would want to do with this off the top of my head, except make pallets. But those are the things. Those are the things you can do with it if you want to try and use it. So there you go, folks. That's the conveyor belt system. If you have any questions or comments, if you have better ideas on how to use the conveyor belt system, leave a comment below and I'll take a look at those. If you have a suggestion for the next tutorial, leave me a comment below and I'll choose the most upvoted comment. My name is Ian Robson. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, why don't you go ahead and hit that subscribe button for some more tutorial action. Catch you guys later.